Okay, for those interested, I had a new soundbar and subwoofer for Christmas from the three offspring. They clubbed together to get that because my old one basically had a HDMI connection to the soundbar itself, but it was a Bluetooth connection to the subwoofer, and that connection just went. It wasn't working, so I had no depth to my sound. So basically Tony took away the old soundbar because there was nothing wrong with it, because he just uses his little laptop speakers, so obviously that's a great improvement, and I'm back to now having a reasonable sound. Now this sound system came with two little satellite speakers that, if you want, can go round behind you to get a sort of surround sound effect. But what I've done is I've put them here. So we've got one there and one there, and they replace the two speakers that were there before, which were part of the computer's sound system, which is now redundant. And in addition, I've now got rid of an extension lead as well, because all the plugs I need now fit into the one, which I'm hoping will hook up under the bench eventually. I mean, number of plugs that I need: TV, soundbar, hub, that's 3, and then laptop and screen. Even leaves me a spare socket, which will do for the printer when I need to plug it in, because at the moment it's stuck up there and the mains lead doesn't reach. I might extend that mains lead so that it can stay permanently plugged in, but at the moment it's not a big deal because I don't use it often to just lift it down and plug it in. Right, so this is all now redundant, which means all that wiring's gone, and what's left is a bit tidier. And as I said, I might even be able to lift that up under the desk. So what we've got now to replace that is, what can I play? I don't want a copyright strike. I'll have to play one of my own videos, won't I? It's the only way I can not get a copyright strike. So what we've got now is, that's my computer speakers basically. Not exactly brilliant, but manageable. But what we do is we come over here and we switch the sound system on, which is Bluetooth. Now we get a decent sound. Good. So we've now got a very pleasant warm sound from here, plus top coming out there and there, so when I'm sat here I've got my stereo sound. Good morning. And a lot less wires under the table. Now that computer sound system, I want to keep that, because in its day it was one of the best systems you could get. So I don't want to get rid of it in any shape or form. I will keep it as a backup. It can go away in a cupboard. So that's basically what I've done. The new soundbar and subwoofer give a lovely sound for the TV when the TV's on. And if I'm playing a film on the computer, not that I would actually play an illegal film on the computer, of course, using 123 movies. I would never do that. But when I am doing it, it'll automatically go to the sound system, and the HDMI cable takes the picture to the TV. All sorted. No messing about. No, it's all connected up. It just works now. I'm just pleased to have got rid of a load of wires and simplified things. The only thing I will have to remember to do is switch the sound system on and off, because at the moment it'll stay on unless I unless I physically turn it off. So yeah, I'm pleased with that. Everything up and running, and yeah. Sometimes things just work out. Now I've got to delve into the electrics in the into the grow room. I'll show you. Oh, we're locked out at the moment. Right, when we had a look round the grow room, we realised that there were lights, and we had lights, so we had power, and we tracked the power down to that box. Now, in my mind, my memory said that that box was actually a socket, and it's not. It's a box. It's a fused box, and what it is on the inside of there's a double socket on the wall. And they've run a spur along and out through this wall and into there, and then connected the lights into there. So what I've got to do is take the front of that off and connect up one of my extension leads, and dare I take the risk and screw some, I mean I'll find a way, but basically I want an extension lead on this bit of wall at a reasonable height so that I don't have to crawl around on the flipping floor. So, and the other thing I've got to do out here is I've got to wash this floor, because I don't know what chemical they use to clean it, but it stinks. And it's a chemical type smell, a bleachy type smell. I don't like it, for a start. And in addition to that, the plants might not like it. So I've got a bit of work to do out here. Some sort of fresh, you know, some sort of floor fresh or something. I'm sure there is something. But yeah, so I've got a little job to do here before the orchids come over. Is just connect a cable into there with an extension lead, so that I've got some sockets out here. I don't need a lot at the moment to get me through into the sort of warmer weather. All I actually need, believe it or not, is one socket, which is for the heater and the fan, which sounds like two, but they plug into the thermostat. It's the thermostat that plugs into the socket, so I only actually need one temporarily, and then later I'll need another one for the humidistat with the humidifier attached, and I might not need much more than that. Unlike the other place where we had the extractor fan, the inlet fan, we had all sorts of stuff going on there. We even had a little light up in the ceiling that had to have a socket to plug into, whereas the lights are already done here. So yeah, little job to do there, which is a nuisance because it means I'll have to turn the power off. I will actually take the front off and see if I can get away with it, but I don't want to belt. I don't want to be thrown across the grow room, do I? Bang my head on the wall or something. But yeah, it means turning the power off for the whole house, which unfortunately means the programmer for the heating will shut down and I'll have to completely reprogram it again. And in addition to that, I'll lose the internet hub and that'll have to reboot, and that takes time. But it's got to be done. I need to get some sensible power out here, because obviously at some point the agent's going to come round and inspect the place and make sure I'm not wrecking it. And if they've got their eyes open, they're going to see that I've actually attached a power here. So I need it done properly. I need it to look right, as though it's been done properly. I might even get a box power, you know, a double socket box to screw onto the wall, which can be wired directly, and then I plug things into that, which would make it look a lot more professional. But I'll have a think about it. But yeah, that's a job still to be done. As well as getting rid of the smell out here. Other things I've got to do before Hannah comes down again. I've had to think about that. If we both end up getting coronavirus as a consequence of our close contact, which we could have done without, we won't be out of the end of our confinement. So although it would be breaking the rules, for me to go out in my car on my own doesn't affect anybody directly. The problem is, as I've always said, yeah, it's all very well as long as your car carries on working, but if you break down, you involve other people. And therefore you're making contact with others, which you're not supposed to do. But Hannah also is not supposed to make contact with other people. But if we've both got it, making contact with each other doesn't exactly make a lot of difference, does it? But strictly speaking, you're not supposed to leave your house. So we'll have a chat about that. To change that weekend is a big deal, I might end up having to do it on my own, but we'll see about that. But down in the shed are some nice big crates, plastic crates, which are much better for transporting pots, you know, the orchids themselves. And at the moment they've got the empty pots in them, so they've got to be cleared out. And my friend Ken, that we borrowed them from, has another set which he was supposed to leave out for me last time and forgot, so we had to go on a rummage around the back of all his greenhouses to try and find the ones that we did get. But it means he's got another load, and he's hoping to go off on a skiing holiday in the not too distant future, so he can't be using them, can he? So providing he can leave them well away from his house, I would pop round and get those, so that I've got some nice strong crates with handles where the bottom doesn't fall out if it gets wet. If it's raining or anything, cardboard boxes are not good. So yeah, that's some sort of things that are going on. And yeah, Hannah had a look round the garden over Christmas thinking about maintenance, and she said, well, there isn't a lot, is there really? I said, no. There's a lot of this evergreen stuff up here that I'm going to cut back, because I think if I cut that back a bit and possibly reduce its height, there might be a bit of a gap. You see how low those branches are on that huge tree? If that evergreen was cut back, there'd be a gap there, which means there'd be some morning sun, which would be appreciated. Early morning sun is brilliant. And again, it's all overhanging here. And that wisteria there, those dead twigs, that's a wisteria. That would look a lot nicer if it wasn't all tangled up in that evergreen stuff. So we might have a hack in there. I'll have to get some long pruners, long handled pruners. And then the maintenance here is just trimming. Whoever trimmed the bush, the blossom's going now, but whoever trimmed that didn't know what they were doing. They were probably just tidying it. But it blooms on the previous year's wood. So it needs quite a hard prune now, so that when it starts to grow in the spring, it will produce lots and lots of new growth, and that'll be where the flowers are next year. These two bushes there and there, not quite sure what they are, but they've got like crinkly little leaves, slightly variegated. That, not quite sure what that is. And then this is an assortment of stuff. There's a bamboo in the back, again some variegated stuff. There's a fuchsia in a pot that'll have blooms on. That sticking out of the ivy looks like it might be a hebe. These variegated leaves is a hebe. That should have sort of like bottle brush purpley blooms on, maybe pink. That tall evergreen there is a laurel, and that's coming right down because I don't particularly like laurel, and when it blooms it attracts wasps. I can do without wasps, thank you very much. In addition to that, it's covering up the bamboo, and I'd prefer to see the bamboo, so that's coming down. And then we got a prickly bush there. What are they called? Pyracantha, I think. And then next to that, that's a camellia, and that's covered in buds, so that's going to be in bloom soon. They usually bloom end of January into February, and as soon as the buds open we get a hard frost and kill them all. It's traditional. And then that looks like a box, and the fact that it's got some dieback on it, I know what that was. That's the guy next door said that the people before had dogs, and they peed all over his box hedge round in the front, which they shouldn't have done because that's a shared area, and it killed back the hedge in a place. So that's what dog pee's done. So hopefully that will grow back. Ivy is not the best of ideas, but it's there. Yeah, a lot of that might get yanked out to see what's underneath. And I'm hoping there might be some bulbs or something. Not quite sure. There's lots of weedy type things growing in the gravel, which will either get pulled out or killed off. But initially I want to see what they are in case they actually have flowers on that I like. Because the definition of a weed is anything that's just in the wrong place. As far as I'm concerned, weeds are actually wild flowers. They're just not meant to be in your cultivated garden. But if anything there has nice flowers on, it can stay. Yeah, so yeah, some maintenance to do, but not a huge amount. And the initial thing that I would like to get done is get that cut back and down, so that there's some light can get through there. And the same here. Trouble is, it belongs to next door. We've got some strange rules I'll have to go and knock actually and ask. But we've got some strange laws in this country. If your trees and bushes hang over a neighbour's property, they have every right to cut it back to the boundary, but they must offer to give it back to you. So you're supposed to offer back all the prunings. Yeah, like they're going to want them, aren't they? But yeah, it would be rude not to at least ask. So we're going to have a chat about that, because it's coming over quite a long way now. I think it would, it's been put there for a reason, obviously. There's a sort of security thing, you know, not looking into people's windows and all that sort of stuff. But I can't even work out which house it goes with. I'll sort that out sometimes. Not exactly a high priority at the moment. And I'm hoping that there's some of that green timber paint left in the shed. I'm pretty sure there is, in which case I shall give that shed a nice coat of green and brighten it up, make it look newer again, because it's been bashed around. It looks like the kids have been drawing on it with stones and things like that. Anyway, another job. So that's what I've been up to today, sorting out my wires, getting the sound system one put away and another one fixed up so that it works with the laptop. Now it's supposed to be working via a USB cable, but that option didn't work, because basically to get it to work from the laptop before, I had an external sound card, which is that little thing there with the orange, black and green plug on it. And basically I didn't want to use that, so I decided to go with the Bluetooth option. The only thing is, it does mean there's a very slight delay, which I'm going to look up trying to get rid of. You can't get rid of it completely, but it depends on obstacles and distances and things like that. But Bluetooth has an inherent delay. You know, the sending unit and the receiving unit, there's always a little delay, which, you know, when you're watching a film, it's going to be like one of those kung fu movies where all the sound's out of sync, and that would drive you up the wall after a while. Same with music, you know, if you're looking at sort of live music or something, you know, the singing and what gets me is when it's out of sync is the drummer's all wrong. You know, he hits the cymbal, carries on drumming, and then you hear the cymbal go. I don't think it's that far out of sync, but it will be slightly out. I'm going to look at reducing that as best I can. Anyway, that'll do for today, enough waffling. So some electronic stuff been fiddled with and tidied up, and some words about the garden, and my little project out here to get the power sorted out nicely so that it looks good. You know, you can get a box like this, which is surface mounted, with screws so that the front lifts off, but with 2 sockets on it. Now that's the sort of thing I want, sort of here. So it's only got a short length of cable, and we'll run with that. Okay, see you next time.